Hello everyone, welcome back to PowerUpCareers. I have seen most people start learning Kubernetes by memorizing commands. For example, kubectl get port or kubectl apply. But they doesn't know what actually happened after run those commands and where does the request go. And you can say like who decided where your application will run. So in this video, I'm going to explain the Kubernetes architecture, and by the end of this video you will understand every major component and how they work together. So if you want to learn about intro of the Kubernetes, like what is Kubernetes and what exactly is this, so you can check out my first video in this series. I can share the link in the description of this video. So let's start. Kubernetes architecture or Kubernetes cluster both are same, so don't confuse that. Now, in this, you can see we have two major components. The first one is control plane, and the another one is worker node. Control plane, it acts as the brain of the Kubernetes cluster, and worker node, it run application and services in pod. And both components have their own subcomponents. First, we will understand here kubectl. As you can see, I have mentioned kubectl. So what exactly is this? So kubectl is the command line tool that helps you to communicate with Kubernetes. So if you want to communicate with Kubernetes cluster, you can use kubectl tool. This is the command line tool. So you can see like if I'm putting any command or I want to communicate with Kubernetes cluster, so first request my goes to API server. So API server is the entry point. This is the first component of the Kubernetes cluster, handling authentication, authorization, and API request from kubectl or controller or external tools. And API server, like it's very important because every component talk to the cluster through the API server. So this is very important. Now next component is etcd. This one we are going to talk about. So etcd is a distributed key value database that store the entire state of the Kubernetes cluster, and only the API server can directly interact with the etcd. Now we know like control plane, it acts as the brain of the Kubernetes cluster. So it acts as the brain of the Kubernetes cluster, then etcd its memory. So I hope like you get the understanding why we are using etcd. So whenever something changes in the cluster, then Kubernetes store that information in the etcd. Now next we are going to understand about scheduler. So scheduler basically assign port to the most suitable nodes based on the resource availability, affinity rules, and the constraint. So the scheduler does not create any port. It just decides the best worker node for each port. And you can also say scheduler is the decision maker of Kubernetes. Now next we are going to understand about controller manager. The controller manager is Kubernetes automatic monitoring and correction system. It continuously checks whether the cluster is in the desired state or not. Also, it runs Kubernetes built-in controllers like deployment controller, replica set controllers, a namespace controller, and more to maintain the desired cluster state. So in simple, we can say it keep the cluster healthy without manual intervention. So these are the component of the control plane that I believe like you understand each and every component. Now we move on worker node components. So under the worker node, we have three components. One is kubelet, second one is kube-proxy, and the last one is the container runtime. So first, kubelet is the manager of a worker node, and it listens to the control plane and make sure pods are running correctly. Plus, kubelet receive pod assignment, starts them, monitors them, and report their status to the control plane. As well as we can also say like it receives instruction from the API server. So one more thing we need to understand, kubelet is a node agent that run on every worker node. Next we are going to talk about kube-proxy. So this is also a very important component because this component is related to a network component, and it handles, or you can say it manages, network traffic and ensure requests are routed to the correct ports. So it's very important because it managing the traffic and route the traffic request to a correct ports. Now, kube-proxy primarily configures networking rules using technologies like IP tables, IVBs, or NF tables, depending on the environment basically. Uh, Next is container runtime. So container runtime actually runs the containers. For example, Docker engine, container. So we have covered every component of the Kubernetes cluster. Now you can see in the diagram, I have mentioned pod A, then we have some containers. So we are going to learn these things. A pod is the smallest deployable unit in Kubernetes. It contains one or more containers that share the same network and storage. So whenever you deploy an application in Kubernetes, it runs inside a pod, not directly on the worker node. Now we have covered Kubernetes cluster. In the previous video, we have covered about intro of Kubernetes. And in the next video, we are going to do a practical session how to use the Kubernetes command with the help of the kubectl. I also request you guys, if you do not subscribe my channel, so please subscribe my channel and like the videos. Thank you once again for watching my videos. Any problem, just comment me. Thank you.